whatever.
Right.
Otherwise, it's the same thing as a military coup. That's a civilian coup when you deny people their mandates.
Right. We need to go on this quick break, madam. When we get back, we'll have a continued conversation. Please stay with us. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.
Thank you.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Mr. Teacher, please, what happens when children come to school? How is it that they leave home very neat and return looking so different?
Non-stop action, ma. All the learning and sports burn energy. So those sweat stains, torn uniforms, and dirty shoes, they show that your kid has been very active.
Now, wow.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo!
Living Proof Supermarket àràgbá yamuyamu ilé ìtajà ìgbàlódé ló tún fàsìkò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo oníbàárà wa fún ìbádòwòpọ̀ lóòrèkóòrè. Ẹ ṣé àdúpẹ́ o. Àwa gan tún ṣe ní ìlérí wípé a ò ní já yín kulẹ̀ nígbà kọ̀ọ̀kan. Ẹ má wàá gbàgbé wípé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń bá wa ra ọjà láì tẹ̀tì ni customer loyalty point yín ga sí láti tún gba shopping vouchers pẹ̀lú àwọn oríṣiríṣi ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú. Gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ wá ń fẹ́ láti rà ló ti wà lójú kan ní gbogbo ẹ̀ka ilé ìtajà Living Proof Supermarket, Pinnacle Building, Fẹ́lẹ́lẹ̀ Ìbàdàn, Old Marchant Pharmacy, Lee City University tó fi mọ́ Total Filling Station Mọ̀lété àtèyí tó wà ń Bódìjà pẹ̀lú èyí tó wà lẹ́bàá Capital Kitchen àdójúkọ Asalam Schools, Akala Expressway, Olúyọ̀lé Extension Ìbàdàn, àtẹ̀káwa tuntun tó wà ní Ayétòrò Ṣogbo. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń fẹ́ lẹ́ òṣèré rà ní Living Proof Supermarket. Fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ẹ pè 081-8888-7120 081-8888-7120 Living Proof Supermarket, ọ̀rẹ́ oníbàárà ní tòótọ́.
Pìràtán herbal capsule. Egbògi ìbílẹ̀ tàbí ọjọ́ pípẹ́ ṣe ìwádìí ẹ̀ lórí kí ló ń fà á dára ọkùnrin kì í kó pọ́npọ́n bó ṣe yẹ. Àṣegbératan herbal capsule jáde kí àyà ọkùnrin lè kí gbàgbà. Kó dúró tán láìsí ìfòyà. Gbératan herbal capsule. Alátìlẹyìn akọ tó bá fẹ́ ṣe bí akínkúgba dànsákì. Ọkùnrin alókunnú dáadáa á lè sákì tí bá pàṣẹ bí alágbára. Gbératan herbal capsule. Tẹ̀ bá ń gbọ́ olówó orí mi kì í dédé wáyé o. Ọkùnrin tó tán ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Gbératan herbal capsule wà ní Danax Pharmacy. Adamasinga, Tanimola Pharmacy, Òkè Àdó, Aslam Pharmacy, Queen Elizabeth Road, adjacent UCH First Gate, Boste Pharmacy Àpáta, àti ní Sinati Pharmacy Ìjókòdó. Gbératan herbal capsule wà nílùú Ìsẹ́yìn, Ọ̀yọ́, Ìkirè, Ìwó, Ẹdẹ àti nílùú Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́.
Ojúlọ́ba ara herbal capsule, ilé iṣẹ́ 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒 ló gbé jáde.
Ìmọ̀lẹ̀ dé òkùnkùn parada. Ojúlọ́ba ara herbal capsule. Ojú ni ìmọ̀lẹ̀ ara. Èdùmàrè má gbòde ọ̀sán lọ́wọ́ wa. Àkànṣe gbòógì tá a fi mọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ ṣe fún ìtọ́jú ìmọ̀lẹ̀ tí ò mọ̀lẹ̀ kedere. Tàbí tó ń wò báyìí. Ojúlọ́ba ara herbal capsule. Egbògi oníkóró ni NAFDAC ìlú ló ń tẹ̀ gbà. Authentic Clear Vision ló ṣe é. Ó wà ní chemist àti pharmacy stores lágbègbè rẹ̀. Ẹ tún lè ríra lọ́fíìsì Authentic Clear Vision. Tó wà business complex. Lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ Amidu Ajibade shopping complex Gate Ìbàdàn. Àǹfààní ńlá wà fún alágbàtà tó ń kó ní pálípálí. Ẹ pè
081-4254-3127 081-4254-3127.
Ojúlọ́ba ara herbal capsule. Tí o bá sí àyípadà bó o ṣe fẹ́, tètè lọ rí dókítà rẹ o.
Ojúlọ́ba ara herbal capsule, ilé iṣẹ́ 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒 ló gbé jáde.
Join us this Saturday for another intriguing conversation on the podium on 32 FM 94.9. OLORUNTOBA, YUSUF and the panelists to be engaging you this Saturday, the 17th of February, on issues that will keep you on the edge of your seat, as they will be hosting the former executive first female chairperson of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mrs. Farida Waziri. Get ready and don't miss it. Stay tuned.
Please pay attention. If you find yourself getting dizzy, tired, headaches, sweating too much, or even muscle cramps, it might be signs of heat exhaustion. Heat stroke and heat exhaustion are medical emergencies. If you see signs, please move the person to a cooler place. Give them cold water to drink and apply ice packs or cold water to their body. Keep yourself hydrated. This message is brought to you from 32 FM 94.9 Ibadan.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM 94.9, the antidote to depression. Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you.
The funds spent were properly spent because we got them from intervention funds.
You only you waka come. There is God.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Aisha YUSUF is still with us on the show today. Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back from that break.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, let me quickly, because it's a panel discussion, we have two panelists joining us. But before I go to my panelists here, let me just ask you this one. Of course, you are not a member of the Labour Party. You've said you don't belong to any party, but you played an active part in the campaign for the 𝐵𝐷𝐷 ticket in the 2023 elections. And the party itself has been in the eye of the storm in the last couple of days. We've seen accusations and counter-accusation about funds management and other issues. I mean, what do you make of how this might, taints the image of the party that, people supported or presented itself to Nigerians as though it's different or better than the established political parties of the APC and the PDP?
Yeah, what I say so far that accountability and transparency, they are sacrosanct, and that must be key anywhere that things are done. Things must be done in the right way. And the fact is that whatever is going on, there needs to be investigation. And if there are any wrongdoing, the people who are partake in that wrongdoing should be punished within the ambit of the law. And that one of the things also that the party needs to understand is that people supported it because of a particular person who they could see the features or the virtues that that person has aligned with the kind of thing that they're looking for a Nigeria that works for everyone. And so in that way, they also should make themselves to be above board, not only to be seen, not only to be above board, but to be also be seen to be above board. And everything must be done in a very meticulous, very transparent, and very accountable manner. So it's no longer business as usual. They shouldn't think about, it's just the kind of politics as usual. And there must be internal democracy in this party. So for me, I'm looking forward to a Labour Party getting its acts together and, just being that party that when they talk about integrity, people can always, they can come to the mind.
Do you think Julius Abure should step aside as a supporter of the party to allow this transparent investigation to happen? Because it's not the first time these allegations are coming up. I remember the Lamidi Apapa faction had raised a lot of issues about Abure himself, but it looks like that allegation at the time was shut down, the way Lamidi Apapa was criticized by supporters of your party. So as a supporter of the party, do you think Abure should step aside for this transparent investigation to happen?
One of the things that I found very strange with the action of the NWC was the fact that the treasurer, who I think that would be the accuser now, was the one suspended on the fact that she didn't follow the process of the party. I don't know what the process of the party are, but I also think that the accused should also be suspended in a way for them to lay to checking what is happening, going through and ensuring that there's proper investigation. I mean, in things like this, it's normal for on the face of transparency and integrity when issues like this happen. Yeah, be on the side, step aside, allow investigation to go on. And when you don't have anything to hide, when there's nothing wrongdoing, the investigation will uncover all of these things and it can continue.
Right. Okay, let me bring in. Yes.
When you're in a public place, there's always accusation. I've faced my series of being accused of all sorts of things at any time. But for me, it's always like, hey, feel free, come and do your investigation and whatever help that you need towards doing that investigation. I'm ready. If there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to hide.
Right. Let me bring in one of our panelists now, Barrister Yomi Ogunlola. He's joining us on the conversation. Barrister?
Yes, Aisha, let me welcome you once again to the program. Now, I want to start from the beginning. Aisha YUSUF became a household name following the abduction of the Chibok girls. That's been quite a while now. But not
10
all,
years.
not all of the Chibok girls have come back. Have you abandoned that advocacy? Secondly, 𝐒𝐈𝐒 marked another anniversary a few days ago, and there was no celebration of it. Not in the media, not anywhere. Nobody remembers any longer. Are you still actively involved in these cases?
Is that the question?
Yes, that's the question.
Okay, so I'm a Nigerian, so let me ask you, before I answer your question, I would like to ask you a question. How involved have you been in all of this? I'm a citizen just like you. Why do you think that Aisha Yusufu has to be the one to do it? I know you take over the reign wherever Aisha Yusufu you think she has stopped.
I have always been active. I have always been speaking too. But I know that...
So I haven't been active on it.
Oh, for instance, advocacy on radio and every other medium, that is at my disposal. So I have always done that, and I keep doing it.
Why haven't I also heard yours, your advocacy on it?
Oh, probably
on this
it depends.
Let me continue and answer the question. 10 years, we've been on the streets for 10 years. We're still making demands for our Chibok girls. Chibok girls were taken away on the 14th of April 2014, and in a few weeks we're going to be talking about 10 years. And I see when people come out and say that, oh, have you abandoned? And I'm wondering, where are you all? Girls were taken away, and we're all supposed to have been on the streets. But there were some people who felt that, oh, this had to do with government, the government of the day, or some people are just making demands on them and all of that. No, the Chibok girls have not gone away. But you forgot something. There is 𝐓𝐺𝐶 girls that were taken away. They are still in captivity. And Nigeria, I've always said this thing, Nigeria does not need any activists. Nigeria need active citizens. That's why I don't call myself an activist. I call myself an active citizen who realized on my 40th birthday that I was a problem of Nigeria by my silence. We all sit in our little corners and we expect that, oh, there are certain people that should make demands on certain issues. Every day you're bombarded by one issue or the other. The Yahudi, it's 1 year they were taken away in Zamfara state. And we just sit down and expect, okay, why are you not doing this? Why are you still not doing that? Let's all ask citizens. This question you're asking me, I should ask you to expect an illegitimate president who right now is occupying the seat of office and say to him, what have you done about the Chibok girls? There are about 97 of them still in captivity. What have you done about them? Government is in continuum, and we're supposed to make demands on government. The primary responsibility of any government is the protection of lives and properties. But there's a certain kind of hypocrisy that happens in Nigeria where we hold citizens accountable. And on a very serious note, if I decide today that I no longer speak on the issue of the Chibok girls, you understand, it's within my capacity as an individual to say I no longer do it. I wish I had even abandoned it. Then I can look at you in the face and tell you, yes, I've abandoned it. You hold it on and take it on. But you see, this thing that we make demands on fellow citizens, but we fail to make demands on the people who are responsible in protecting their lives and property, we need to stop it. We need to grow out of that mentality and ensure that we are holding people who are supposed to protect lives and property accountable. Today, every one of us, there's something I always say, that yesterday's victims were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors. And tomorrow's victims would be today's survivors. The question is, who is next? Most of us have expensive empathy. We do not think it's going to be our portion, and so we sit down and do nothing and expect that it's far away.
No, Aisha, let me come in there.
Two questions. Let me finish. Thank you. And then we expect that. I'm not just talking to you directly. I'm talking to this in the generality of our nation, because I get this question a lot. There are people who see you wearing the bring back. I go out with my bring back our girls badge, and they're like, oh, these girls, they are still there. Oh, they are women now. They would have grown on women. No, that's not the thing. We don't hold fellow citizens accountable. We hold the people who are supposed to do the things they're supposed to do accountable. On the issue of Chibok, on the issue of 𝐒𝐈𝐒, it's still the same thing. We're supposed to hold them accountable. Today we have so many issues that keep coming on that and I just told you of some girls who are that you've not even mentioned. They have been abandoned there. Some of them have given birth. And so these are the things that keep going on. But we're more focused on asking fellow citizens, oh, why have you abandoned them? I wish, honestly, I truly wish I had abandoned them. Then I'll look you in the eyes and say, I've abandoned them.
Okay, let me come in there. I think it was Hobbes who gave us, the makeup of man. All right? That in the state of nature, he lived a solitary life, poor, nasty, brutish, and short life. But the idea of a philosopher king along the line, came to the fore. For people like you qualify as a philosopher king.
People like me let me know what you mean. Birthday. I realized that I am the problem of Nigeria. How am I the problem of Nigeria? By my silence. And I decided to start speaking up. And speaking up so that I will no longer be nameless, faceless, and voiceless the way I was made by poverty in my own country. So when people try to, that's why I say I don't do labels. If you go to my Twitter bio, I always say something. I don't do label. I'm me. I say it as it is. You might like me. My mom says in my court, nobody wins. And you will either love me or hate me. Either one is, is okay with me. The issue with label, you see now, you want to make me the voice of the voice people, is that they now begin to put you in a pedestal, in a glass, whatever, this, and tell you, oh, you're supposed to behave like this and not behave like this. But no, I don't accept that one. I am not speaking for everybody. I am speaking for myself to stop being voiceless. And if every adult Nigerian with the mouth and everything, capacity to speak up, we all speak up to not make ourselves voiceless, then the people we are speaking for, they will all hear. Thank you.
Majority of those people have more pressing problems like hunger, and what have you, Majority of those people, are you asking market women who are running around for existential living, to take up the kind of challenges that you are taking up? How many of them can do that? How many Nigerians can do what you are doing?
Okay, wait. There are not all Nigerians that can do what some of us are doing. And I do understand the fact that because of there's so much poverty, there are a lot of people who, for them, all they're fighting for is for their survival, to be able to put food on the table of their families. I get that. But we are 200 and something million Nigerians. And for most times when they talk about protests or anything, or agitation or demands, they always talk about the critical mass. 1 to 2% of that would work. Let's even say 1%. If we are 200 million Nigerians, 1% of 200 million Nigerians, it's about 2 million. There are 2 million Nigerians whom poverty is not their problem. Food is not their problem. Illiteracy is not their problem, because we also have to understand, like I always say to people, I say, look, the education that we have is not for us alone. It's also for millions of people who are not fortunate enough to understand, to be educated, and so they don't have voices to speak. But at least we have 2 million Nigerians using 1% that can speak up. And most of these 2 million Nigerians sit in their sanctimonious thrones and tell you, oh, you haven't spoken on this thing. No, you've stopped speaking on that thing. You should speak on. No, there are over 2 million Nigerians that can come together and be that voice and ensure that we are not asking our fellow citizens to speak on our behalf, that we are picking up and we're also speaking on these issues, and we carry on and ensure that the people who are voted into office realize that their job is to supply. Like Dr. Obiezekwesili would always say, governance is demand and supply side. Those who vote them into office demand, and the ones who are voted into office.
There were some Nigerians who spoke up just a couple of days ago against the hardship in the land, according to them. They protested in some parts of the country. Started in Niger State, I believe, and then came here to Ibadan as well. And I think I saw your reactions on X, formerly known as Twitter. You criticized some of the protesters, saying that they are now voicing out. Yeah, those who protested against cost of living and hardship in Ibadan, that they are voicing out because the hunger and hardship is now directly affecting them. I think you said something along that line. Yes, let me try and pull up that tweet now. if I can. Okay, but as I try to pull up that tweet, Aisha, as I try to pull up that tweet, let me just get your thoughts very quickly. Is that an example of speaking up and speaking truth to power, holding people in government accountable? You've said that we should not wait for anybody to be the voice of people. Citizens can also wake up themselves. Is that an example that we're seeing now? People coming out in different cities and asking questions, calling on government to do more to tackle the current hardship in the country?
So while I wait for you to bring up that tweet, because I'm really interested in that tweet, because it would be height of irresponsibility for me, Aisha YUSUF, to criticize people who had come out to protest on the fact that they are hungry. One of the things that I've always said, even when we had issues, we are in the streets protesting and people are talking and whatever, I always say the fact that, look, the rights that we have to protest is the right other people have not to protest. I will never be one to criticize anyone at any time they came out, because I myself, yes, my first protest as a human being was in 1992 as a student. But as an adult, I never protested on Nigerian issue. There were a lot of protests that happened before I was 40. I never did any of that, because as of that moment, I needed to be financially independent. I grew up poor, where I was faceless, nameless, and voiceless, because in Nigeria, when you're poor, you're faceless, nameless, and voiceless. You're not seen as a human being. And I grew up in the ghetto. I needed to escape all of that. So I focused on my financial independence, and I worked on myself. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a trader. I've been trading since the year 2000, and by before I was 40 years of age, I was financially independent. And of course, that's when I could say okay, now I need to face government. And up to today, that's why they can't. The normal thing that they try to do, or give somebody contract, somebody to give.
Do you want me to read out? Do you want me to read out the post? Okay.
It's an accusation. Hold on, listen to me, because I'm giving you time, because that's why I want you to pull up that.
I have it now. I have it.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So for years, farmers were being displaced and sent to IDP camps, yet you felt it wasn't your business. You were even angry that people were protesting insecurity and blocking your way. Today, you are in the street protesting against hunger. You kept your empathy only for yourself. Yes.
That's not criticizing. That's not criticizing.
So what is that?
I've talked about expensive empathy. And so, and over the years, and that's why, if you remember, when I always talk about yesterday's victims were once survivors, that every one of us, we are all victims waiting to happen. Yes, there are some people who it happens to them before they come out. So if it's that tweet, that's not me criticizing, but that's me telling people that, look, for you to sit down until it comes to your table, and sometimes you see other things happening to people, you don't come in. There are two types of protests. There is protest of empathy, there is protest of survivor. The current protest on hardship is a protest of survivor, and for them, yeah, fine, they are coming out now. So that's different for you saying that I'm criticizing them. I'm putting.
But you said they kept their empathy to themselves. That is not criticism.
I'm telling you, they have. You know what? You know this. We started this conversation by Chibok girls here, right?
Yes.
There are still some people today who see you and they are angry at you because you're making the march for Chibok girls. Some of them say that no Chibok girls were ever taken. It was politics. There are a lot of Nigerians who keep empathy to us. In 2014, when I went to my village, my uncle looked at me and was like, because we were sharing flyers, BBOG flyers, and he said, oh, those girls in the far away, they are far away. Now, it's the north. Okay, exactly what it's the northern people killing themselves. And I looked at my uncle. He's my mother's junior brother, and I said to him, by the time some of your nieces and nephews are living in the north, by the time they start bringing us in body parts, you will understand. I've always said it. Nigerians we don't have empathy. We hold our empathies to ourselves. We don't share. We are very religious, but we don't have that empathy. So when things happen to another person, like, oh, thank God I survived. No, it's not about you surviving. It's about that other person that has just died or lost their life. We're always quick to do Thanksgiving. What about that person who had just gone on? And because we think we have the patent of prayers, we always think it will never happen to us. That's a big problem we have in Nigeria. And that's why when things happen in different regions, we think it's none of our business until it comes down to our table. Then because all of our, even the kidnapping today, if we all had come out and you were united as a nation to say to the government, no, how girls will be taken away from school, we will go away. We probably won't have the kidnappings that are happening today in schools. Let's see what happened in Ekiti the other time.
Let me bring in Prof. Is our second analyst, Professor Remi Ayede of the Department of Political Science, University of Ibadan. Prof, great to have you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Aisha. It's a pleasure to have you this morning. I saw that tweet, and I didn't see anything wrong with it because I am I have the same opinion concerning all of those things. And I remember many years ago when this kidnapping started in the Niger Delta, and then later on it went to the southeast before it became a national crime. Some people just say, yeah, it's those people who are kidnapping each other. They are not very cultured. It's about money. And we don't think that it's important to take preemptive measures to ensure that we help them so that the thing doesn't get to us. In fact, by helping others, we also learn how to deal with the problem. It's a big problem in Nigeria. We always think, oh, Boko Haram is in the north until they finish themselves. That's their problem. But I think we are getting to the point where they say they came first for the Jew. You say, I'm not a Jew. They came first, second for the teacher. I say, thank God I'm not a teacher. Now they've exhausted the list, and it's your turn. So that's the kind of problem that we have in this country. And I think people are forced to struggle. But, I don't also think that as people are concerned about society, we should take that argument too far. Because whether people protest for survival, what is important is that injustice is being fought. And to that extent, we must harvest this spontaneous reaction to injustice and ensure that we transit it into something permanent, something a stronger force that will continue continuously challenge government and ask for accountability. Are you, because in the case of the Chibok girls, we still have that kind of movement going on. Are you aware of the what do we call her name again? Leah Sharibu Foundation?
No, I'm not aware of Leah Sharibu Foundation, but I know at the Bring Back Our Girls movement, what we did was we always add our name every time, even when we do the Chibok girls. So to expand on that, background on that, the Chibok girls, we said, are a representation of those that were kidnapped, abducted before and after them. And so, but when Leah Sharibu came, we deliberately add her own name because some of those other abductees, we really don't have their names. And that was why the Bring Back Our Girls movement did ask for the Nigerian government to have a missing persons register so that we'll be able to identify how many of our citizens are missing who have been taken away. So for us, making demands for her, it's always part of the demands that we make, even for the remaining Chibok girls. And for me, it's really, and I think it just comes down to how, just like what Prof have explained, how we are as a country where we really don't feel the pains of people until it comes to us. Because even as of the question I kept asking, how can a nation negotiate and leave a daughter behind? Because that was what happened. Every other person was brought in, Leah Sharibu alone, and then the government was allowed to just move on like that. We all should have come to say no. Why? Because of her faith. She has a right to her faith. There's no compulsion in religion. The second chapter in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, is there. You can't force somebody to become a Muslim. And she says she's not a Muslim. Why are they leaving her behind? But of course, we always allow government to abdicate their responsibility. And then here we are.
Right.
Many years later.
Prof, you want to ask your question, but we need to go on this break. Please hold that thought. When we get back, we'll finish up with you and then continue the conversation. Please stay with us. Aisha Yusuf will be back in a moment.
Okay.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Hello, excuse me. This Milo pack looks different. I'm seeing support energy release, bam, on the pack. Is it the same Milo?
No, this one is new and improved. The support energy release means when you give your kids Milo as part of breakfast, you are giving them energy they need to go to school.
Ah, I like this one.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo!
alálùbáríkà ní 32 FM 94.9 àjàkẹ́rin cocoa náà wà nìbàdàn ọ̀nà ń kí wa pé a kú àmójúbà o múmi náà á máa kú ọdún ó mà tún ti yá ká wá ṣiṣẹ́ ládàá ká so nígbọ̀wọ́ ètò iye tágbára bá ká ìṣẹ́jú márùn-ún mẹ́wàá tàbí ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún ọgbọ̀n ìṣẹ́jú wákàtí kan lówó kékeré ọyọ́ kàgbéra ká lọ rà lága Ramadan hello Mr. Ayédùn 0708319 6095 àwọn gan ló máa gbé tàbí kẹ́pẹ́ Yusuf lórí nọ́mbà yìí 08146113680 àwọn ló máa gbé Ramadan yìí máa dùn wá ó sọ̀pọ̀ ọdún.
There are some things in life that you cannot entrust to someone else, like loving your partner. Loving them is your absolute responsibility. 32 FM presents Lovers Night, a premium experience this love season for couples. There will be karaoke, live band, couples games, buffet, comedy, and special appearances. Date is Saturday, 24 February 2024. Ticket price is 20,000 naira per couple. Venue is 11th House Hotel and Suites, number 23, Bale, Akintayo Street, Jericho GRA, Ibadan, Oyo State. For more inquiries, call Aramide 0704 426 3290, Oyi 0813 125 1915. Hurry and get your tickets at 4th floor Cocoa House, Dubai, because only limited seats are available. This event is sponsored by Any Railboy Global Ventures and supported by Vine Gifts and Sweet Sense. Love is in the air.
To stream this current show live on Facebook, simply type 32FM949. Fẹ̀yìn
ṣẹ̀mí bí olóògùn ọ̀rẹ́.
ìjà ò dọ́là lètò tó yanjú aáwọ̀.
láàrin mùtúmùwà.
tóbi lọ́ba Ògúnṣínà wọ̀kìlúmọ̀ látọ́kùn ètò.
láago 11 àárọ̀ lọ́jọ́ Ẹtì àti àbámẹ́ta.
32 FM 94.9.
When the people became silent,
the government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
All right, welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Aisha YUSUF is still our guest on the show this morning. And before we went on that break, Prof was about to ask his question. So, Prof, you have the floor.
Yeah, Aisha, activism is a very interesting terrain. But people always ask, these activists, what can they do? What do they know? They just go out to make all kinds of noise. And sometimes even activism, you begin to develop fatigue after so many years of doing the same thing. I'm just wondering, is that why you have become politically partisan?
Okay. So I get this question a lot from people where they say, oh, you are an activist. You should not participate in politics. And I think for me, let me start from where I normally start with them from. Activism and politics, the end results are supposed to be the same for the betterment of the people. The activists or the advocates are the one who will say this is what is happening. Those noise that activists are said to make is part of what is supposed to be. In policy making, agenda setting is the first step out of it before you go on to agenda formulation and all of that. And so to say, this is what the issue are, this is what is on ground. And so when activists, they point out these issues, the ones that are the politicians who are in office are not supposed to take on the issues and solve them for the betterment of the people. But in Nigeria, because we
Oh, it looks like
She's muted.
Is she muted? Okay, you seem to have lost connection with Aisha now. Okay, but I mean, let's see if we can try and reconnect with her. But Prof, I don't know if you followed the conversation before you joined us as we were talking about the reports of that 2023 election released by INEC yesterday. I just want to get your thoughts on it as we quickly reconnect with Aisha.
Well, the report for me, I think that the report is what I would describe as better late than never. And it's an ex post facto report, and it looks like an afterthought. I think that we only welcome it because INEC has finally spoken, but I don't really see anything new.
Them accountable.
Okay.
So this mindset that we had.
I'm sorry, Aisha, we lost you for a couple of minutes there, like a minute. Yes. So we didn't get what you said. So
you had to say.
The last thing was, I think you said that you wanted to start answering the question
from where you
normally respond.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's fine. These things happen, yes.
Okay, so I was saying that first of all, when people ask me that question, you're supposed to be an activist, you shouldn't participate in politics. First, politics, everything about life is politics. Politics is controlled by everything. Even the air we breathe, they can make law tomorrow and say that we should not breathe. All of us should be using oxygen masks. Until we find that law, it is law. And so our living, our giving birth, our dying, our being buried can be affected by politics. And so we have to all be interested in politics. And I said that activism and politics, the end result is the same, for the betterment of the people. The only thing is that the method, the process to which they get to that end result is what is different. Those who are on the activists are supposed to point out the issues that are in the society for it to be solved, and the people who are in politics are supposed to solve those issues. The problem we have in Nigeria, where people always think that at the moment you're an activist, you should be somebody that shouldn't participate in politics, that shouldn't do anything, is because we've seen politics and we've been conditioned to believe that politics is where people go in to enrich themselves. No, the politics we have in Nigeria is an abnormality. It is not that's not how politics is supposed to be. Politics is not where you go to make money. It's not where you go to enrich yourself. It's not where you go to buy 70 million naira vehicles for yourself. Those should be left for businesses and all of that. Politics is where you go to serve people. So they are close together. And so, I also mentioned that as far back, I think 2017, I started saying that for me, political activism is what I'm going to be focused on. One, for me, political activism has 4 parts. You're either running for office because you have competence, character, capacity, and you're ready to serve the people, or you are helping people who are running for office to campaign for them to get into offices, or you are helping them raise money. And I mentioned the fact that unfortunately in Nigeria, we expect candidates to bring their own money. So what we've done is that we've allowed people who have looted our commonwealth to be the ones to continuously perpetuate themselves in office, or their stooges. And then the fourth thing is that the fourth part of the political activity is that when people are voted into office, we hold them accountable. So issue of trying to separate politics and activity, no, there's no this thing, separation in it. Whatever role anybody wants to play, they will. The day that I feel that I'm ready to serve, for me, the reason why I've not run for any office as of this moment is because I don't want to be accountable to anybody. I love my freedom. Last year, I only spent 3 months in Nigeria. I was out of the country for a number of times. I can pick my bag right now after this meeting and say, I'll go and stay with my daughter, maybe spend 3 months there and come back or do something. But as a public servant, I can't do that because my time is accountable to the people. Even the way I talk, everything is accountable to the people. Like for you, if you follow me on X, on my timeline, if you do anyhow, goes, I will give it back to you. But if I'm a public servant, an elected official, I won't be able to say all of those things. So we should stop all of this trying to vilify people and put them in the box and say that, you are an activist, you should behave in certain manner, you shouldn't participate in politics. Every one of us, and this is what I'm saying, people, we must ensure we are getting into this politics. We've left politics for people who are jobless, who for their politics is their only job and they see it as a means of living. We need people with other jobs to enter politics so that you are not easily bored. When you talk about these delegates and all of that, people are not bored, and then you're ensuring that the people who get into that either run on the ticket of parties or get into office are people with competence, character, and capacity. I want to see a Nigeria where we are choosing candidates when they already parties give us candidates. We are saying, all of them are competent, but rather than say, this is the only competent ones amongst them.
Okay, let me bring in Barrister now for his own line of question. Barrister?
Yes, Aisha, I please pardon me. I still want to go back, to the issue of abductions in Nigeria. From Chibok girls, we find the rate of kidnappings, abductions, and all that still rising. What do you think? You have been on the field. What do you think is aggravating this evil in the land?
I think I'll take you back to also what Prof had said earlier, which is when this whole kidnapping started in Nigeria. I can't remember whether I was still in the university or something when all of that started. I finished university in 1999 anyway. I can't remember whether it was then or after then. But one of the things I remember, I kept saying, like when we were discussing in the family, no, this is so wrong. Because I read a lot of books and I knew how the United States had to battle kidnapping. I knew how they would cut people's fingers and send them to the mail because I read right. So I was telling people, and I always said it was one thing that we didn't have in Africa. So when all of that started, and people would say that, oh, it's only expatriates that were being taken. It doesn't matter. That's where the problem has been at. Because when, for example, even the latest one we have, which is about almost a decade ago now, when the Chibok girls abduction happened, because Nigerians didn't come together the way we ought to have done and be outraged. Let's not forget that just before the Chibok girls, the Buniyadi killings had happened when 59 schoolboys were slaughtered by the terrorists in their school. That was in February 2014. And then, of course, in April, 276 Chibok girls were taken away from their school. 57 escaped immediately, and it remained 219. That it was the first one came out in May 2016, where many people had told us, give up, go away, they can't come back. So that lack of empathy. So what we did with the lack of empathy and not being forceful with the government was that two things happened. One, the terrorists became emboldened. Kidnappers became emboldened. Abductors became emboldened. They would do anything and get away with it. Two, the government was given enabling environment for them to abdicate their responsibilities. And so that's why you hear, like when Buhari came, his first thing was that people start saying, but the abduction wasn't done during his time. We said, look, government is in continuum. It doesn't matter. Administration can come and go, but Nigerian government is Nigerian government. And that the rescue of Chibok girls is not a privilege. It's their right as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And so we failed them by not protecting them in the first place. And the next thing we ought to do was to rescue them immediately, which we didn't do. So all of this have led to the fact that now people can be taken away the way, because they know nothing is going to happen. There's no security, there's no government, nobody's going to rescue anyone, and people on their own. And that's why I find it very let me just use the word annoying and very irritating when Nigerian government, especially some of these state government, they are coming out to say that, oh, their stand is that people shouldn't pay ransom and all of that. Yes, nobody wants to pay ransom. Ransom is not the right thing to pay. But what do you want families to do? Their loved ones are in the hands of these people. They are even killing some of them. We saw what happened in Abuja, where a girl was killed and her father and his 6 daughters were taken away. One of them was killed. Her result came out, according to the family, from ABU, this thing, and she made first class, but she has been killed. And so people are in a state where right now anything goes. And this kidnapping, people are being kidnapped for as less as 10,000 naira, 50,000 naira, and then with the hunger, with the lack of employment and a whole lot of things going on, more and more people are getting into that, because it seems as if it's the easiest way to make money. Because when you get somebody paying you 60 million naira, 100 million naira just for ransom, and you see a lot of people have been affected. What we see in the news, I would say it's less than 10% of what is actually happening, because with kidnapping, a lot of people are afraid to speak out so that they don't come and carry your loved one again. They will say, since you were able to pay 10 million or 15 million, that means if you carry that person, they will pay more.
Yes. Now, Aisha, a lot of people condemned the former president Jonathan that he was not very active, in resolving these kidnappings and all that. And with Buhari too, there was so much noise that the government was not doing enough. I know that Bola Tinubu is just about 8 months or thereabout. How do you see his response to the problem? Is it responsive enough, as one would have expected?
He hasn't even bothered. I mean, two young girls were killed just from his house by kidnappers, terrorists. I'll call them terrorists that kidnapped them from their families. One of them, she's 13. The other one is the one I mentioned earlier. She had just finished her schooling, and they didn't even bother to come there. Even right now, you don't even get the statements that you used to get before. At least Buhari will say something like, I'm shocked. After the while, he doesn't speak. Sometimes he'll come and say that he's shocked or whatever, put out his statement. They don't even bother
or send the condolence message. I said, or send the condolence message.
Challenge the security chiefs.
Oh, yes. There was this statement. It's almost like they just remove the dates and the names and the whatever, but it's almost the same thing. That's how they used to put that. But right now, this one doesn't even bother to even say anything. It's like, he wants, I think what Tinubu, for me, it's an illegitimate government. I don't recognize Tinubu as my president. And that's why even, I think a few months ago when people asked me, are you going to be demander? Like, who am I making demands on? Or somebody that's not even supposed to be there. So for me, that's my personal stand. And if NBC has any issue with that, I live in Abuja. I'm at home right now at any time. And if I'm out of the country, if they invite me, if the government invite me, I'm always ready to come. But to mention the fact that nothing. There hasn't even been anything about to bother about the people. I think what Tinubu basically is focused on doing is to impoverish the people, and he said it even during the campaigns, impoverish the people so much that people will be fighting to have food on their table and not think about anything else. And I always say to people, even human rights, and when I meet with people who are talking, I say, look, even human rights, if you're poor, you're not thinking about human rights. You don't have rights. You don't even know you have rights. I've been poor, so I know what poverty is. I grew up poor. When my father lost everything, it was terrible. So you're only thinking about how to put food, how can you eat? And that's where gradually, Tinubu is getting, should I say, have almost gotten Nigeria to that particular place. And I'll give you a quick example. I'm not going to mention the name of the brand. I don't know, maybe you say it hasn't done that, but I'm a trader. I have warehouses. I buy things. I've been trading since the year 2000. Day before yesterday, I called the warehouse to ask them how was the price of a carton of big noodle, and they told me 12,000. Like 12,000. The day before they had increased 1,000, because this was something we used to sell 3,800. That was a day before yesterday. Then yesterday, so today is Saturday, right? Yes. So that was like something like, that was on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, what happened? They now it was now 12,000. They now added 5,000 naira. It became 17,000 for something we used to sell for 3,800. 17,000. Towards the evening, they added 950. So right now, a carton of big noodle is going for 17,950 at like wholesale price. So you are getting it at 18,000 and thereabout. This is what people are grappling with right now. And for the last 2 weeks, the company had to close down its portal because we placed orders in portals. No orders had been placed. Why? Because they were grappling so much with how expensive it was to manufacture. They had two options: either shut down the factory or increase the price crazily. And that's what we are having right now. We have a huge crisis on ground, but yet people are still playing ostrich.
Okay.
And they are going after traders and say that we are hoarding food. No, traders don't hoard food. Our warehouses, that's how we keep stocking our warehouses. It's called warehousing. While we are selling, we're always buying things. For me, like I always say personally to people, if my personal bank account, if it says 100,000, used to dance Kelewu, because every of my money is going to goods or I'm buying properties or land. I don't keep money in cash. But right now, the government, instead of taking responsibility and trying to fix this whole issue, they're trying to abdicate their responsibility and blame traders and every other person they can blame.
Okay, let's go back a little bit again and go to 2020. It's almost 4 years as well. The EndSARS protest, shook the country, got the attention of the world as well. But some people say that Nigerian youth could have done it a little bit better, than they did at the time. You played an active part as well during that demonstration. Do you feel like there was something that we missed, in terms of calling for reforms, as well as the, management of the protest itself in the latter days of that demonstration. Was there anything that was missing for the Nigerian youth, as much as that protest got the attention of the government, got the attention of the world at that time?
One of the most heinous things we do in Nigeria is that we're always blaming the victims and we side with the perpetrators. We never blame perpetrators who did something. Nigerian government behaved like a terrorist government and killed and gunned down its own people, innocent young Nigerians who did nothing wrong other than hold the Nigerian flag, were singing national anthem, they were gunned down. These are youth that we have not given them enabling environment for them to thrive in their own country. And so they found niches for themselves, and they were doing so many great things here and there with their intelligence, their creativity and all of that. And they kept stamping on them, and they came out to protest to say, we are being killed, save us from being killed, and the government killed them. And yet we're still blaming the youth and not the government.
No, we're not blaming the youth. We're not blaming the youth. Sometimes you have to do a post-mortem of what happened and look at it critically and say, okay, what could we have done? Because you've talked about activism. You've been on. You've
Tell me something.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Some people say maybe they should have had, a figure like a leader of that demonstration that would have been able to drive home their demands a lot better than he did. Some people have that opinion about that demonstration of 2020.
Let me take it up from there. The EndSARS protest, in the words of Florence Ozo, was protest for survival. Many of the people who were at the protest ground were either victims. Some of them were victims many times over. They were harrowing stories of what were happening. And then some of them had loved ones who had fallen victims to EndSARS brutality. And the thing was that what we saw with the EndSARS protest was that there was no traditional kind of leadership where you have this vertical leadership. There's one person at the top and everybody is answerable to that person. What they had was a horizontal kind of leadership where people were leaders in their capacity doing the things that they need to do. There was no one person up there. And I'll tell you something. They did learn. It was learning from the things that had happened in the past that made them to adopt that. And let me state here categorically that I was not, what's the word now? Or what's the word I'm looking for? I was not an EndSARS organizer. It was organized by the youth, and I loved it. I absolutely didn't have any role. I was in the background. I was there to support them, sitting down on the floor while they took, and they were amazing in the things they did. They were very, they were very organized. And short, even when they put death out there, they packed up everything. They did everything right. For the picture that was taken, it was when the police came out to shoot at them. That was where I came to the front and I said to the police, if you're going to shoot at them, you have to put that bullet through me first. So let's be clear on this. They worked very well. They had seen what happened in Occupy Nigeria, where there were leaders. What normally happens in Nigerian protests, when there are leaders, it is these leaders that are called into this, and before they know what's happening, some compromise go on and whatever, and then before they call off protest, nothing is achieved. And they decided they were not going to go that way. And one other thing also that people kept saying that, they were not negotiating. No, they were negotiating at every step of the way. And I'll give you an example. People think about the negotiation in the traditional kind of way. While they were still on the street, they were still negotiating. Remember when the police brought out some 5 items that they had done, and that, they were changing the names, it was now SWAT and all of that. They came out with their 5 for 5 and made their demands and said, these are the things that we wanted. When the police didn't do, when the government didn't do any of that, they came out to say, this is what the government can do. The short-term, mid-term, long-term things, solution to this whole problem. And they were making demands for everyone. Even the number 5 demand was that the welfare of the police, their salaries and all of that should be increased. They should be well taken care of so that they don't have a need to keep extorting people to be able to make up their salaries and pay pay their bills. So they were doing all of this together. Then the government, the thing about the Nigerian thing is that the government always assumed that when demands are made on them, that it means you're hating them. No, it means we believe in you, you can solve this problem and do it. Criticism is not that you're hated. No, they're simply telling you you can do better. And if you do better, you are the one who get the thing about it. Why couldn't Buhari come out to meet with the protesters? Why couldn't even the IG, be told, okay, step aside? The IG was still removed later on. Why couldn't he be told to step aside? But I will end this thing to say that the reason why we behave in this way is that the first set of dictators that Nigerians came across are actually parents. We were told as children not to speak. We were told that we don't have voices. We weren't given a voice in our houses. For those of us who even dared to speak up, we were called stubborn children and we got a lot of beating. So as Nigerians grew up, they replaced, their teachers also did the same thing to the adults around them. You're not supposed to have voice. And they became adults. They simply replaced their parents with government. So they feel that, government shouldn't be challenged. Nobody should say anything. And then whenever anything happens, hey, but you should have done it better. No, the government should have done the things that they did better. They did well. It was because of antecedent that they had seen. That was why they refused to have that central leadership, because they didn't want to be bored. And you didn't know who you were going to call and put and try to compromise that person. That was a strategy in itself. Let's learn from all those things also.
Okay, let me go to Barrister now.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, Aisha, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as I have always said, continues to search for credibility, legitimacy, and acceptability, and at any cost. Because to me, that explains his attempts to woo the U.S. government, and of course, responding to all the dictates. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No, I stopped at where you say that explains. I couldn't hear anything after that.
Oh, okay. I said it probably explains why he's kowtowing the U.S. government and taking all the dictates from the IMF and the World Bank. Back home, is dangling a restructuring carrot, which perhaps for the very same reasons I mentioned. For instance, the issue of state police, creation of more states, and things like that. What's your view? Do you think he is going about it the right way, using the National Assembly to restructure Nigeria?
For me, my view, I don't think it's going about it the right way. So let's look at the whole. Let's even start from the beginning. I don't know whether I mentioned it earlier, but my stand has always been: it doesn't matter who was it that became president after the February 2023 election. What the people had wanted was that let the process be free, fair, credible, and transparent, and let the will of the people be. I respect everybody has a right to vote for anybody, whatever candidate. I would say the right you have to vote for a competent candidate is the right. Another person has to vote for an incompetent candidate. It's all right. And so that's where the biggest problem came from. And so when all of that happened, and people do know, of course, we saw the way the election was going and the whole abracadabra that happened. So legitimacy issue would always be an issue. I bet the thing is that, so what you do, even when you get yourself into office, in my own opinion, illegitimately, is to begin to work for the people, to do the things that will make the people now look and say, even though he didn't come in the right way, even though he stole this thing, but he's doing, sort of thing. But that hasn't happened. I knew that Tinubu was going to be bad, but I didn't know he was going to be this bad. And I think he has surprised a lot of people, even those who believe that there was something, because those people believe that he had capacity to master strategies. I think that was the name that was. We've not seen some master strategies with no strategy. From the moment of the people that came across, the people in the cabinet, everything. He hasn't worked that way. The hunger, the semen, distance, the seeming not understanding the pain of the people, the wastage of money. You saw 3 billion naira being used to verify social register. That doesn't look like somebody, although nobody steals election to come and work for the people. That's one thing for sure, because if you're going to put in the work, you're not going to come through that way. And so the 3 billion being used for social register, where people are verifying social register that the APC itself, APC government has been in government for over 9 years now, or let's say 8 years plus. It's almost 9 years. By May 29, yeah, it will be 9 years that APC has been in office, APC government, and yet they are verifying register that they did before and using 3 billion. One company getting 700 million, 500 million. That doesn't look like somebody who is actually looking for legitimacy. You're going to Dubai with all of this. There's so much hunger in the land, and people are not seeing anything. The policies that are geared towards solving the problem. You know, there's a kind of suffering that you're suffering that you know that okay, this is like a delayed gratification. I'm suffering now, but I'm going to enjoy tomorrow. But this kind of suffering you're suffering where there's nothing, it's going to be worse. You're hurtling downwards, and that's where we are right now. And he hasn't really been doing that. If you're looking for legitimacy, you have to start it with the people here rather than starting it from the voices within. Although the Nigerian government, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We're with you.
Although the Nigerian government always focuses more on the voices outside than the voices within. But I think for someone who had legitimacy issue, who still has legitimacy issue, he hasn't spoken to the people like one who cares for the people. Nigerians are very forgiving people, and Nigerians, honestly, for me, I know I've never been in any government position, but I know I work with people a lot, whether in terms of movement or anything. The expectation, most Nigerians don't have huge expectations. Just do even with the basic, they will sort of like praise, and they're always so forgiving. Okay, let's move on. It's okay. Election happened. That kind of mentality. But I haven't seen them even put that effort towards trying to do good for the people. Because at the end of the day, one thing I always say, it will be such a disaster. It's such a disaster for anybody to get into office, and you're not doing something that when you leave the office, people will say, "Hi, we had such a human being in office." I always say, if 100 years after you leave office, people are not talking about you and saying that, "Oh, thank God we once had someone like so-and-so person who was in office, who did so many great things," then your being in office is actually worthless. It's not worth it.
Okay. Well,
no, I still want you to touch the issue.
We have to go on this break, Barrister.
Okay.
We have to go on
Let
this
me just
break.
ask the question before,
We have to go on
the issue of restructuring, whether you believe in it, and whether you think the National Assembly is capable of bringing about the kind of restructuring that Nigerians are asking for.
Okay, if you can answer that in a minute. We have like a minute to go before we go on that break. So quickly answer that. Yes.
Right? Oh, okay. If I haven't, I absolutely believe in restructuring, and I think these are some of the things that we should be looking at. For me, I believe the Nigerian conversation, we should bring it to the table. It's over 100 years that I think it's 110 years is going to be this year that the amalgamation of Nigeria happened. We need to sit down and have a conversation. How do we want to run Nigeria? And so, if there's no region in Nigeria that is not great, that doesn't have the capacity to be great. It's just leadership problem that we've always had. Even this state policing, the government. I've always advocated for state policing, but the flippancy with which they are just saying it, let's just create it. No, because part of the things we always do that we don't work on the root and ensuring that the basics are taken care of. You don't just say, state policing. It's just like someone woke up one day and just say, we are removing fuel subsidy. I believe in fuel subsidy removal. Even in 2011, I supported Goodluck Ebele Jonathan in that. That was why I didn't take part in that particular protest, even though I hailed the people who were there, who had their own reasons for being there. But you have to, there are structures, things that have to be put in place for things to work very well. Sometimes we don't focus on those things to get the result that we want. We're just so flippant about just putting things out there.
Right. Okay, let's go on this break. When we get back, we'll try to get some thoughts from our listeners via the Facebook page, 32FM 949 Fenye. That's the Facebook page. We'll also open the phone lines as well if they have any questions for you on the show. That's after this break. Please stay with us.
Okay.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Hello, excuse me. This Milo pack looks different. I'm seeing support energy release, bam, on the pack. Is it the same Milo?
No, this one is new and improved. The supports energy release means when you give your kids Milo as part of breakfast, you are giving them energy they need to go to school.
Ah, I like this one.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
fífẹ́ràn olólùfẹ́ ni dénú dọ́kọ̀ ojúṣe ńlá pàtàkì tẹ́lòmí ò lè bá ní ṣe ni. ìdí rèé tí iléeṣẹ́ rédíò yín 32 FM 94.9 pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ 11th House Hotel Eni Rehoboth Global Ventures àti Vine Gifts and Sweet Sing fi ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ àṣálẹ́ olólùfẹ́ níbi tí tọkọtaya yín ó láǹfààní sí ìjójíjó orin kíkọ eré ayò oúnjẹ àjẹgbádùn ọ̀wẹ́kẹ̀ àti onírúurú àwọn ìgbáládùn tí n ò lè fẹnu sọ. ọjọ́ 24 oṣù keje ọdún 2024 yìí ni o 20,000 naira péré náà lówó wọlé fún olólùfẹ́ méjì. ilé ìtura 11th House Hotel and Suite tó wà ní number 23 Baálẹ̀ Akitayo Street Jericho GRA Ìbàdàn Ọ̀yọ́ State ńlálẹ́ olólùfẹ́ yóò ti wáyé o. ẹ tara ṣàṣà láti máa bọ̀ wá sí àjàkẹ́ni Cocoa House láti gba tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì tọkọtaya yín fún àlàyé síwájú ẹ pè Aramide 0704 426 3290 oyin 0813 125 1915. àǹfààní ńlá rèé fún àwa olólùfẹ́ láti gbádùn àyájọ́ olólùfẹ́ yìí lára ọ̀tọ̀.
ẹ̀yin fans mi. it's okay. ẹ lọ sórí Facebook ní 32 FM 949 fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ àsáàpù. it's okay.
ọ̀kọ̀lọ́kọ̀ mọ̀rẹ́àbà làwọn sálà mọ̀rẹ́àbà làwọn sálà oṣù ìkẹ́dẹ́ ramadana mọ̀rẹ́àbà làwọn sálà. múmínì pẹ̀lú múmínà 32 FM kí wa 94.9 yìí ni wípé àkó àmójúbà Ramadan oṣù kẹtùndé ọyẹ ẹ̀jẹ̀ aṣọ nígbàwọ̀ iye tá a gbára bá ká ìṣẹ́jú márùn-ún ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́wàá ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún ọgbọ̀n ìṣẹ́jú wákàtí kan lọ́wọ́ tí kò gara lọ ní 32 FM 94.9 fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ lè pa alága Ramadan ẹlò mi ṣàyẹ̀dùn 070 83 19 60 95 kọ́lá mọ́bẹ̀ yìí sópin a ó ṣe púpọ̀ ọdún láyé.
32 FM 94.9.
Glory! Another wonderful opportunity to listen to God's word and what God is saying to you in order to put you over that daunting situation. Kindly tune in to listen to Reverend Chris Oyakilome, DSC DD, on this station every Friday, 9:45 p.m. A lot is happening and has happened in our world in recent times, and God wants us to know where we are in His calendar so as to effectively carry out our assignments in this year, 2024.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM 94.9, the antidote to depression.
When the people became silent,
the government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back, the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Remember, you can drop your comment on Facebook, 32 FM 949. Yeah, you can also watch us live on YouTube using the same handle as well. You can call us 0705 5949 089 7949. Aisha Yusufu is still with us on the show today. Okay, so let me quickly come back to you now. Aisha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Welcome back. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about the current leadership of the country, the last election as well, and there have been different conversation about, maybe there should be a third force, going to the 2027 general election. In fact, I remember, I think it was a meeting of the IPAC that the PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar also talked about the need for the opposition to come together to take power from the APC in 2027. I mean, I just want to get your thoughts concerning that. Do you see that as a viable option for this country in terms of opposition coming together? And if it were to happen, because I mean, in politics, you can never say never. That's what they say. A politician might be in one camp today, criticizing somebody, and then jumps ship to that camp the next election cycle. So how does this resonate with you, the possibility of forming a coalition in 2027?
So for me, the first thing I'm thinking about is that whole term about wrestling power, I think the mentality needs to shift. It shouldn't be about getting power. It should be about the work for the people. I get that, yes, you have to get into office, because I think with the APC, it was coalition that brought in an APC, right?
Yes.
Of different parties coming together. But
Yes.
the main thought, like what I'm seeing, the same kind of thought that is coming from the people here now, the same set of politicians is, let's get the power away from PDP. Without actually saying, what are you going to use the power for? If it's not for the betterment of the people, then what are you grabbing that particular power for? There's already a third force, if I would say, and that third force, and I hope it continues to build, and that's the Nigerian people. One of the things that until power belongs to the people, we will not actually have the kind of democracy, the kind of politics, election, and governance that we are looking for. We need right now, what we have is that politicians are too powerful. They're the ones who seem to think they have the power. But in the 2023 election, even though they were dismissive of people who were saying that they were tired and they were going to participate in the election and make a difference, but they did see they saw what now played out at the end of the day, and I think to an extent they are learning their lessons, though they have not fully learned that lesson. So there is a force, which is the force of the people, right? And in terms of like you rightly said, when it comes to election, people can align, people can come together, but at the end of the day, for us as citizens, always say, what are they coming together for? It shouldn't be just coming together just to grab power and now be the ones in office and continue to perpetuate the bad governance that the ones are doing. Because there are some people who, for them, it's not really about Nigeria getting good governance, is that they are not the ones who are dishing out the bad governance. And as soon as they are the ones who are dishing out, they are very much okay with that. There's no reason why somebody should get into politics and forget that and say what is bad is no longer bad just because you are in there. What is bad remains bad. The only thing is that you keep working towards it, and be sincere in your capacity to work towards it.
So if Peter Obi, for instance, were to join a coalition like that, because we know the stance of the obedience movement and their opinion about the PDP and the APC, a kind of coalition like that would mean that he has to align himself with some people that are already seen as part of the establishment or corrupt. So if he were to join a coalition like that, would you still support him? Because that would require him to join hands with some people that he has already criticized, that you have also criticized as well.
Mm-hmm. My support for him would always be on the fact that he see the best for Nigeria at that time. He see the one that will whatever coalition is going to. Let me just say that I hear some people who talk about the fact that, for example, let Peter Obi go and be vice president. Let him join up with Atiku again. Let him be vice president. And I'll tell you categorically, I'm aware. I wanted to say, God
please.
forbid, I would never support that kind of this thing.
Okay, if you were to align with Atiku, you will not support him?
No, not
never. Okay, all right.
Definitely,
yes.
Aisha will not. I'll move away from that. It's for me, like I told you earlier on, it's not about grabbing the power or getting the power. It's about going in there to make that difference. One of the reasons, why I support Peter Obi so much is the fact that he has empathy. And he cares for the people. And so when someone cares for the people, he wants to do the right thing for people. I'm looking for who is going to work for the people. I don't need to like you. And this is something I've always said. I don't even need to like you. As long as I know that you're the best for the job, I'm going to be there for you, because I want someone to go in there and do the work so that I can go on with my baby girl life. I don't want to be on the streets making demands on things that are so mundane that should have been solved years ago. I don't want to be on the streets making demands for people's life to be respected. I want to be on the street making demands for things like, oh, we need more flowers for butterflies to have flowers to pollinate. There are some people in other countries, that's what they're making demands on. We'll be left here to be struggling for basic things and making demands for basic. So yeah, whatever coalition it is, of course, there are going to be coalition, but it's not the one that you're bringing. We will not put our best foot forward and put something else just because so that they will say, no, I will never be part of that.
Because, I mean, even if the person you support has empathy, he still has to work with the political party. He has to, because the political party right now, the reality of Nigeria is that there's no independent candidacy. So the political party is that vehicle. And that's why some I've seen on X, some of your, the obedient supporters have said, okay, maybe Peter Obi needs to leave Labour Party and form another party or dissociate himself from Julius Abure, who they feel is tainting the image of the party and in turn tainting the image of the movement as well. Would you like to see that happen, that he should leave the party given all of these allegations and then form a new party perhaps? Because, I mean, starting a new party comes with its own challenges as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. You've said he started a new party or whatever, being at a place. The first thing for me that I would love to see is to see proper investigation. I think that's one of the things that Mr. Peter Obi had said, where they need to bring in independent audit firms to come and investigate all of this and see what is happening. And if there are issues of, if there are substantiated corruption and all of that, then whatever the process within the ambit of the law, is taken care of. So when you're talking about alliances now, so let me break it down, I think, so that we're on the same page. Coalition, parties coming together, people coming together, well, that happens, that can go on. But one of the things for me, for example, which I see some people who have talked about, is, for example, where you begin to say, oh, you don't put your best foot forward, because we've done that a lot in Nigeria. And I'll give you an example personally. In 2011, I said, why would Buhari be running? Buhari can't win election after what happened with the, is that 2011? No, 2014, October 2014. Because I said with what happened in 2011, with all of that riot, and he really didn't actively try to put a stop on it, why is anybody, voting him? I wasn't going on. Until when he brought in Osibanjo. And by February, when they had done all of the atrocities that were going on in the land, the killings and whatever, I was like, okay, fine. I supported the APC ticket in that for the 2015 election because of Osibanjo, because I saw what he had done, in Lagos. So he's antecedent. And Buhari is known for one thing, which is to delegate to someone else. Idiagbo, I knew, I was 10 years old when Buhari came into office. Idiagbo was the main person. We all knew that. Even when he worked in PTF, he delegated to I can't remember, APC was the acronym for the company. They were the ones who were mainly doing the work and all of that. So Buhari is not to delegate. He did still delegate, but he didn't delegate to the person that we thought, because that's when they say Buhari will work on security, or Osibanjo will work on economy. So for me, I always say it anywhere that Buhari, I had no expectations of him. He wasn't my disappointment. Osibanjo was my disappointment. So I've seen that as a second person, as you being either running mate, you really don't have that much power, other than maybe to try to tell whoever is your principal that, look, this is what is happening on the street, this is what we need to do, and all of that. You don't have that much power. And so sometimes when you see people talking about this coalition that some people are talking about, that, oh, let's Peter Obi come and be running mate to somebody. For me, that's something I would never, ever support. I'll move on. Okay, you guys do your own thing. I even said it before, like even in 2019, I was like, if Peter Obi had been the main instead of, there are more people that have been interested. It's not really about the party. I've always said, let's vote for candidates, not the parties, because at the end of the day, all these parties have credible candidates. They have very credible candidates. But the problem is that they don't put the credible candidates forward. They don't put the competent ones forward. They put the ones that they can control, that are incompetent, because those ones they know they can. The coffers of the state will be for them to do whatever they want to do. With competent people, of course, are not going to allow people to do anyhow with the commonwealth of the people. So for me, those kind of those kind of coalition, no.
All right, 075 5,949 on Facebook, 32FM 949 Fenye. Okay, Barrister, and then we'll read some comments. We have some comments already.
Okay, yes. Now, Aisha, I want to get your view on another issue that has become very, very controversial. Not too long ago, Gbajabiamila, who is the chief of staff to the president, suggested controlling social media. Some have also accused the government of the day of working towards a one-party state. And a couple of days ago, the chief of defense staff threatened Nigerians who, according to him, are calling for a coup. Don't you think this government is disposed towards a dictatorship?
It's already there. It's not even disposed to. I mean, literally everything. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. There's a state capture. We have a media capture. We have a judicial capture. We have legislative capture. Security agents, of course, agencies in Nigeria, their allegiance has always been to whoever is the president and the ruling party. And all the things that are being done, it works towards that dictatorship. And right now, the voices of the people, it's when you have money that you're able to talk. When your tummy is filled up, you are able to have voice, your right to fight for your rights. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think during the campaign, there was a time when Tinubu did mention something about reducing the spending power of people, or within that contest. And, people laughed over it and just thought that, maybe, but that's what is happening right now. And so when people are poor, you talked about, I think, Barrister, you were the one that mentioned the issue of life being short, nasty, and brutish. That's exactly where we are in Nigeria, where even in Abuja, we are being taken away in your houses. You can't speak, you can't do anything. I think about 2-3 weeks ago, there were a lot of calls that DSS were going to come and arrest me. I was being told, they are discussing my matter. I was like, that has to be the height of irresponsibility. In a nation where we are being killed every day, DSS has no business that they're doing other than to sit down and be discussing Aisha Yusuf's matter, or that I should be careful. Careful about what? And I did say to them, there's nothing they're going to do that terrorists are not already doing. If they even come and arrest me, well, it means I won't have to pay ransom. And if they kill me, terrorists do that every day. We have kids who are being taken away and are being killed. But I think that's exactly where they are working towards, which is to shut people's voices that buy up wherever it is that can be bought, and those people that can be bought, look for a way to shut them down. But just to quickly talk about the fact that the Gbajabiamila himself, to say that the social media that he enjoyed in 2014 that he could use to tweet when Jonathan was in office is the social media that Nigerians have a right to enjoy today. And when he was scaling that wall, when police had been brought in to tear gas them at the National Assembly complex, citizens on social media were the ones supporting and calling out Jonathan's government for being so anti-democracy and all of that. And so that social media, they do not have a right to stop it. Buhari tried it when he shut down Twitter because of the genocidal tweet that he did, where he said he was going to met out the 1967 treatment on the Igbos, and we all called him out for that. And Twitter removed his tweet, and then he, shut down, banned Twitter. But what happened? We just simply activated our VPNs because there are Nigerians that are not going to listen to, rules that are against freedom of speech and are against our individual human rights. And so people went on. What do you call it now? They were using VPN. I don't know what the meaning of that acronym is, but you could tweet out of the country. And the
virtual private network. Yeah.
You said?
A virtual private network. That's VPN. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much. Yes. You see, every day we learn virtual private network. Okay. And so the unintended outcome of that whole thing was that Nigerian issues could trend on every part of the world. So even people in other parts of the world, we are 220 million people. We have so many of our people on social media. So you have some that were tweeting from this country, that country. So every issue we had, it immediately gained, world attention. So if they try to do it again this time to shut down the social media, we just simply go and activate our virtual private network. I just learned that now and go on to continue and our voices will be heard.
Okay, let me get some comments on our Facebook page now. This one is more of like 3 or 4 questions for you. Okedron Batunde says, our guest has seen it all. If she's invited to power, is she ready to serve? That's number 1 question. Number 2 is, what are the things she's likely to do differently to solve these problems she has identified? Number 4, is there any hope for this country? And number 5, is she ready to jackpot if opportunities present itself? I think she mentioned that already, that she can decide to spend 3 months away and then come back. So those questions for you from Babatunde. I don't know if
I will start from the last one.
Yes.
I'm not ready to jackpot. I'm not going anywhere. And there's something that my husband always says, and I just keep, I don't know how, I might not say it exactly, but I paraphrase it. He says, we are of here. We were born here, and that's one thing my husband always says all the time. I am in Nigeria, not because I have to be in Nigeria, but because I want to be in Nigeria. I can travel any part of the world. I travel. I don't have any second passport, and I have no interest in getting a second passport. I had an opportunity years ago, of course, as an entrepreneur. Even UK, you could get your passport through entrepreneurial route. Just invest some certain amount of money there, whatever. A lot of my friends were on my neck, get together, like, no, I love my Nigerian passport and all of that. So for me, yeah, okay, fantastic. I love my Nigerian passport, green passport. I'm always proud when I travel with it, and nobody can oppress me. When I some Nigerians say, oh, with your green passport. Me, if you look, I will look you, I tell you, say, this one is, that green, my green passport, it's great and amazing. So I'm not looking, so Japa for me, it's out of the question. Yeah, but I do travel out of the country a lot. Last year, like I said, I spent 3 months only in Nigeria. I did a 5-month fellowship in the US. I was supposed to do that fellowship in 2022, but because of the election, I told them I can't leave Nigeria. It was a fellowship on democracy. I said I can't leave Nigeria when Nigeria is about to go into this thing. When I saw Mr. Peter Obi emerge, so I postponed this. So immediately after election, even before the results were out, I had to go there to go and do my fellowship. 5 months, I came back and I stayed with my Your Excellency, I don't have time for that. 2 is that your back will always be safe for me. So I don't work for people, I work with people. Okay. I bet I can do elected posts. I can run for office, and if the people vote for me, I know I'm accountable to the people. That's the kind of accountability that I want to be, not to be accountable to someone when he's doing anyhow. I'll be holding my say that something else, but I don't know where I've gotten to that time yet. I want to get to a place where I know I can serve. Honestly, people look at it as, getting into office. It's not about salary. It's about, and it's very difficult. Right. And for me, I'm one person, I don't know how to do things half measure. I put my life, everything on it. And if I'm going to start, it's going to take so much for me. And I don't know whether I'm still yet ready to do that sacrifice. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah. On the other one, whether there's Nigeria, honestly, there is hope for Nigeria. Nigeria is an amazing
Let's see if we can take this call. Hello. 0705 5949, 0829 7949. Go ahead. Continue. Yes. The call went off. Yes.
Talking about, I think Nigeria is a great country. We have everything to be amazing. Nigeria can be amongst the top 10 countries, or even of ethnicity and religion to constantly divide us. If we're able to get in people shocked at the kind of growth that we have talented people, we have human capital, we have mineral resources, we have arable lands. There is no region. Forget that oil. Oil is the least of our wealth. It's just that we've lazily focused on it because, you just extract, come and share money in Abuja. There is so much talent that can be unlocked in Nigeria. Even this Jackpot syndrome that they talk about, for me, we can be training people to be jackpotting. Okay, nurses, they want our nurses, they want our doctors. We have a lot of people who have this degree that want to read this course. They are not getting admission. Can we put facilities in place to begin to train them? If we can train 1 million nurses every year, some of them will throw, some of them will stay here. They will be remitting money back to us. India has taken over the tech world. Can Nigeria take over the medical world? Can Nigeria take over this and this? People that have
let me get this.
If we now do it,
let me get this comment. Let me get this comment as well. This one is from Honorable Akinkunmi Camille. He says President Tinubu is the president of Nigeria. Millions of Nigerians voted for him. If Aisha Yesufu is embittered because a candidate lost an election, she should come back in 2027 to test their ability again. However, ask Aisha to offer solution to the series of problems and security issues we have. She should talk to her own state governor to fix our hometown. Your reaction?
Can I come in now?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, so this particular person, what I will first of all say to him that he's a citizen, he's not a slave, and mental abduction is something that people can take themselves out of. You know, one of the things, like, I think that was the beginning of the conversation we had. He sits down to say Aisha should offer solutions. The whole solutions that have been offered, if he goes to my Twitter handle, he will see all those solutions right from 2014. They are there. But the person that he says is his president has been given the solution, and he's using being hasn't offered solution. I'm sure he wouldn't even have the guts to ask him for his own solution. As for my state governor, oh yeah, I hold my state governor accountable all the time. He hasn't, like I said to him all the time, he speaks English instead of sitting down and actually getting the work done. And this particular person should understand that governance is two sides, demand and supply. People who vote for people into make demands on them. Psychopathy is not the thing to do. Yes, millions of people voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but those millions of people were not enough to give him about it to election, and that's why they had to resort to all sorts of things. 3 elections went on the same day at the same time. For the one for president, the one for House of Reps, the one for Senate, every other one went, but the IRF, there was a glitch on the one of the president. You saw all the kind of some of them sheets that were cancelled, cancellation of everything. He can continue to lie to himself and say they won the election. That's good. This is not my first time of losing election. The first time I voted in Nigeria was in 1993. I voted for MKO Abiola. Yeah, he won, but he wasn't given this thing. And so some people will up to tomorrow say that he didn't win. Now, that's other people's fault. In the next, I vowed I was never going to vote again until when Nuhu Ribadu, in 2011, decided to run. And for me, it's always about people. I've never voted based on party. It's always when I see someone that, okay, this person, I felt Nuhu Ribadu represented what I felt could be that Nigeria that will work for everyone, that will actually lead and do the right thing. We saw his stint at EFCC. And I came out, I campaigned for, he didn't know me there, I didn't know him, I wasn't on his social media. I campaigned in my own area for Nuhu Ribadu. I voted for Nuhu Ribadu. He didn't win. And I moved on from there. Yeah, it wasn't a win. In 2015, I voted for Buhari, APC, Buhari and Osibajo. I gave my reason earlier. Osibajo was the reason I voted for Buhari. If Osibajo wasn't on that ticket, I wouldn't have voted for Buhari. But now I see, being a running mate, you don't have so much power. Even somebody that was ended up delegating to other people. In 2019, I supported Dr. 𝐵𝐷𝐒𝐿 of the SCP, and even when she had left, I voted for her. When she of course, she didn't continue the election today. She wasn't part of the ballot before I went on. So I'm used to election being lost. So if it says so, it's not a new thing. On this election was rigged, a political coup happened in Nigeria, a civilian coup happened in Nigeria, and he can deceive himself as much as he wanted. All that was needed was for the INF to be allowed to work.
Okay. I just want to ask you this. Of course, we're wrapping up now. Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, I
can hear you.
Yes, we're wrapping up now, and my question is this: some people have said that there seems to be this fixation about who becomes president in Nigeria, that we do not pay attention to other critical offices as well. Maybe that's why the person who commented earlier that you reacted to said you should also hold your state governor accountable. And I know that you're a big supporter of the Peter Obi and the obedience movement and what have you. But let's look at the Labour Party itself after the 2023 election. We've seen election in Bayelsa. We've seen election in Imo. We are going to be seeing election in Edo State very shortly. But in those state elections that we've seen, those off-season election, the Labour Party didn't perform well from the results, and how the elections panned out. So some people have also looked at how the national appeal of the party outside the person of Peter Obi in the 2023 elections.
So before I talk about the Labour Party, party, just look at it, what you had mentioned earlier. First of all, the person, people are economical with the truth, and people only see the things that they want to see, not everything. I mean, everybody knows that my state governor, I hold everyone accountable. I hold myself accountable. You are not slaves, you're citizens. That you support somebody doesn't mean that you have to be looking at the person when he's doing things anyhow. But we also have to understand that in Nigeria, there are certain things that are in the purview of the federal government. For example, security. There's no how you go and be holding the state governor accountable for security when he can't do anything. They only give them security votes, which nobody knows what they do with it. And that's why there has been this persistent call for state policing. And even that state police, if not for them to just jumble it anyhow and do it anyhow, but they should put all the structures, the necessary structures in place to ensure an efficient and effective state police, not just a group of people who are carrying arms and probably turn into people who will be assaulting other citizens. We also come down to
it's breaking.
Autonomy in Nigeria. You know what this? Hello?
Yes, okay. The line is just
Can
breaking.
you hear me?
Yeah, okay. I think we can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, so I was saying that, of course, like for me, my governor, I hold my governor accountable all the time. But people want to see what they want to see, and they're fixated on certain things. Security, you can't hold any state governor accountable. You can only hold the federal government accountable, because the security architecture of Nigeria is in the hands of the federal government, the commander regime, even though we have an illegitimate one right now. There's no local government autonomy. So on certain things, what are you really holding somebody for? I live in Abuja, and the whoever occupies the office of the president is supposed to be like my governor, and holding the person accountable, holding here. I don't live in those states. Of course, I'm there. I hold my government accountable. And there was one very funny thing that happened yesterday. Somebody carried a road that is very bad in my community and put it on social media. I'm like, oh, Aisha, you are not protesting on this one. You are not making the mass. And I'm like, that road is a federal road that is supposed to be fixed by the government that you are defending. And you see yourself, because a lot of people don't understand. Nigerians need to learn what they need to learn the fact that they are not state. Coming back to the Labour Party issue, one of the things for me, and I hope this continues to go on, that I've seen with the obedient movement, and I hope with other people, is that they are more interested, between people supporting who came out to vote and the Labour Party. So I think, Labour Party, it's going to be voted for. If you're not bringing in the most credible of candidate that people can really stand with and vote for, then people will just continue their business and be going on about it. So yes, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're just about wrapping up now. Yes, we're just wrapping up now.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm also about to wrap up my thoughts to say that yes, in those off election, Labour Party might not have done as well as they should have, but then also is the kind of candidates and how they emerge. But then here again, we have those states is the next off-cycle election, and there has been an emergence of candidates. And for me, I'm actually loving what is happening in I mean, APC, PDP and Labour Party have brought out very competent candidates. APC, I'm not sure they had more competent candidates. If they had brought them out, for me, that would have been a win already for Edo. So like I remember I mentioned earlier in this program that I want to see a situation whereby I'm saying, all the candidates are good, but I'll vote this one because, rather than just say, only one is good. This is the only one that is competent.
Thank you so much.
People that are ready to serve.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we are going to wrap up now. Prof, 30 seconds, your final thought for Aisha, and then Barrister as well. 30 seconds as we wrap up.
I thought I would have a chance to let her talk to us about INEC, because it seems that INEC is the big elephant.
She dealt with that earlier on before you joined us. She dealt with that before you joined us. She did. Yes. Thank you. And then Barrister?
I want to thank you for being a part of this program. It's been quite enlightening, and also to encourage you to continue to do what you're doing for Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Aisha Yusufu, for joining us on the show. And you said that you might consider running for office, so maybe Nigerians will watch out for that. And get ready, when you do run for office, and if you do win, people would hold you accountable to the same standard you're holding people right now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. That's it on the podium. Thanks to INT'L panelists, Barrister Ognola and Prof. Also, appreciation to my producer, Agbalagbo Famous Cole. Thank you for joining us on the show for today. We're back next Saturday on the podium. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.